Hello, my name is Michael Stevens. I'm the owner of Neuro-Fitness. We are the manufacturers and the owners of the product called the CES Ultra. The CES Ultra is an FDA regulated medical device, class 2 medical device. Our allowable claims with the Food and Drug Administration are for anxiety and insomnia. CES Ultra, CES stands for Cranial Electrotherapy Stimulator. What we're doing here is we're using the nerves and the nerve endings in your ears to get to your vagus nerve system. By stimulating the vagus nerve system, we are activating or stimulating your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part of your nervous system that is the opposite of fight or flight. So if you're a person suffering from anxiety or insomnia, you're likely trapped in that fight or flight mode to one extent or another. And this helps to activate the opposite parts of your nervous system, which is your parasympathetic nervous system.
Here we go. Hey everybody, Dr. Howard Cohn here with BioStacking Summit, the BioStacking Summit 3.0 coming up March 10th to the 18th. So excited for this session because we have the original, one of the originals, the OG BioStacker from 1.0, Dr. Steven Zykoy. We have found him because he is so freaking busy, and we have got him to sit down with us or stand. I don't know which one you're doing, but you're here with us now. We're super excited for that to talk about something that you've used for a long, long time. A sponsor of the summit, CES Ultra, stands for Cranial Electrotherapy Stimulation, right? Yes, that's what it stands for. We love it. We have been using it here. I know you've been telling me about it forever. This small but mighty device here clips on your ear. I know Dr. Zykoy is going to walk us through it and is doing wonders. So let's talk about, there's so many things that is doing: anxiety, insomnia. We are in the midst of probably the worst mental health time of our lifetimes, and it's everywhere. And the amount of pharmaceuticals and nutraceuticals and interventions and therapies that are happening for anxiety, when something as simple as this device has been so groundbreaking to shift these things. I know that you, working with the toughest of patients to our military in the United States, to all kinds of different things abroad with the programs you've done. And this has been a pinnacle part of it. I know people know you from the nutrition world. You have 3 nutrition degrees. You've interfaced with that. But a lot of times people go and they go, hey, I went to see Dr. Zykoy. He gave me this little thing the size of a pack of cigarettes. I put it on my ear and I got my life back. So Doc, walk us through why this has been so important for your care with your patients over the years.
I think you have to understand that, more than ever, people are turning to medication because their anxiety is out of control. And the problem with that is that it's never ending. Once you start taking, a Xanax, what's going to happen is you attenuate to it. You're going to need to take more of it. It's going to become less and less effective. And it's not actually doing anything to solve the underlying problem. I mean, a lot of anxiety now is coming from the foods we eat, the environment we're under. We're under a lot more stress through social media. And then what's happening is that our nervous system is breaking down. So it needs some help. And for years ago, you're right. Everybody knows I do a lot of clinical nutrition for the difficult cases. But sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes we can support the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, the fight or flight, the parasympathetic for relaxing. And it's not enough to just support it nutritionally. And sometimes people are in such crisis that telling them to go do deep breathing when they're panicking like this is not going to work. And so years ago, about 30 years ago, we came across a company, CES Ultra, that uses alpha waves to calm and relax the brain. And the first time we had this in our office, I was blown away. And we're going back into the 1990s here. This is a long time ago, and it was already available for years before that. And the reason this is so Even today, groundbreaking. 40 years later, it's still groundbreaking because it's one of the few medical devices FDA recognized that is proven to help with anxiety and insomnia. And the more you use it, the better it works. There's almost nothing on the market that we could say the more you use it, the better it works. And people start feeling a change the first time they use it. But then over time, what happens is it retrains the brain to produce the alpha waves that make endorphins. And this type of product is actually proven to raise your serotonin. And everybody needs serotonin if they have anxiety, if they have insomnia, if they have pain problems, if they have depression, because serotonin is the feel good hormone.
Yeah, you talk about entrainment. It is a big deal. I mean, we've been using it, and really from the very first time, we are seeing those changes with people. And then by the third time or the fifth time, they're at a different level. I mean, they're how they react to stress, how easily they get thrown into an anxiety attack. Now they have to have more of a stress in order to do it. So it's super cool to see it. People see it all the time, and they love it because it's cost effective. I mean, people have spent a lot of money. People spent more money on one supplement that might be a peptide or something else, or some, program or system to clear something. And they have this, and this doesn't wear out. I mean, you have CES devices that you've had for years.
Yeah, we actually have our original one still. So we have about 5 or 6 in our office, and I don't think any of them are less than 5 years old. And they just work great. You just replace the headset every now and then for like $10. And what's really important about using something like the CES Ultra is, one, it is extremely cost effective. It's less than 1 hour of therapy. It's amazing. And a lot of people, you're like me, it's like the nutritional part of your care will go so far. The chiropractic part of your care will go so far, but you need to make lifestyle changes. And for a lot of people, like, oh, let's go exercise, let's go do some deep breathing. Why don't you take up yoga or biofeedback? The problem is, and this is where we started using it for the military, and about 10, 12 years ago, this is one of those things that just like a light bulb went off. When I was dealing with the military, and we're dealing with people with severe PTSD, and they're like, to get them off the bed was, a miracle. They're too weak to go and too run down, and just didn't have any oomph left in their system to change their diet, to even take their vitamins, or hey, how about we just do some biofeedback training? They're too weak. They just don't have anything in their system. So when we started using the cranial electric stim unit on these people, what we realized is that we were able to get them that first big step, start moving them in a positive direction, because the CES Ultra does it for them. It retrains the brain to produce endorphins. It trains the brain to produce alpha waves. It produces the serotonin. And from there, with the nutritional products, with the lifestyle, with the mindfulness and encouragement, we're able to move people forward. So for a lot of people, they're just like, they know what needs to be done. I know I have to eat better. I know I have to take my supplements. I know I have to exercise. I know I have to practice my mindfulness. I know I have to do my grateful training, but they're just too weak, too deep in that hole to do anything. And a lot of times when we just start using a CES Ultra, it gives them enough of oomph, enough of a push to get the momentum going. It's not a solution for everybody, but it is a good first step for a lot of people.
So it's been great. It's been great watching you use it over the years. I mean, we've enjoyed having it at the Cohn Health Institute. And you're right. You're talking about the medications, the amount of the thousands, probably tens of thousands of patients now that you've been able to let's say, give them another solution. I'm sure that you're off the
Options,
Christmas,
lots of options.
you're off the Christmas and Hanukkah card list from the manufacturers of Xanax, but I don't think you mind. And then let's segue into insomnia, because as we know, sleep deprivation is the number one form of torture in the world. Sleep is completely underrated. And if you're not sleeping, you're not healing. If you're not sleeping, you're not losing weight. If you're not sleeping, your life sucks. It just does. And you know it. People just have that miserable scowl on their face. But when you're able to get them something simple like this, when they've come to you after spending tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars just to try and sleep, they're drugging themselves, they're doing crazy things, and they're like, okay, one more thing. How much is it? All right, that's not that much. Let me give it a shot. And they come back and they're like, get the you know what out. You got to tell me what's happening, because I've been a lot of places, sleep clinics, I've had sleep studies, but this little device here, this little guy finally got me sleeping. How's that happen?
So again, it goes down to the same thing, that what's happening now more than ever before. First, I'm going to talk about the drugs. Drugs were never meant to be used on a daily basis. All medications, when they originally started, were to get you over the hump of a problem. It's only in the last 20 to 30 years that these medications have been used constantly for anxiety, depression, and sleep issues. One of the craziest things out there is that every single antidepressant has never been tested or designed to be used for more than 90 days. That's crazy when you think that people have been on these medications for years. They were never designed for that. They were never tested for that. And it's kind of the same with anxiety medication and sleep medication. People were not, these were things were supposed to be used for a week to get you over the hump, get you over the crisis, and then your system was supposed to take over. But the problem is that you go to your doctor, you tell them that you have insomnia, they're like, oh, here's some trazodone, right? And you go back a week later because your script is up, and they're like, you know, I work great, I'm sleeping. Oh, yeah, here's a 6-month supply. No, these medications were designed to work short term, get you over a hump, and give you get you back on a regular cycle. If you continuously use them, you may be asleep, but you're not regenerating. You're not actually becoming healthy. You're not doing all the things you're supposed to be doing, because your mind and body need to be at a true rest, not just unconscious, to actually heal and regenerate. So we try and encourage our patients to, like, look, let's do this a natural approach. We can use things like pharma-GABA to put you in a more relaxed state. We can use the the cranial electric stim to produce more serotonin throughout the day and get your body much more balanced so that you can actually sleep. What a lot of people don't understand is that your body has a rhythm, okay? It's not the same. You don't wake up with the same amount of energy and the same hormones, and you don't go to sleep with the same amount of energy and the same amount of hormones. There are patterns that your body must follow. And if you don't follow that pattern, you have signs and symptoms, both physical and emotional. And so the same pattern for anxiety, which is loss of control of your autonomic nervous system, and now you're producing, like, say, adrenaline at the wrong time, right? And that's causing panic attacks, that's causing the anxiety, is the same problem showing up late at night. I call it night owl syndrome. And I'll explain what it is. So what happens is that normally your cortisol level, all of your excitatory hormones and neurotransmitters are supposed to peak at about 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then they slowly decrease until 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And that's how you feel energized in the morning and more relaxed in the evening and ready for sleep. But because life has become so stressful, because of everything going on, including social media, and when you're continuously stimulating your body throughout the day and late into the evening because you're watching these stupid dog videos or cat videos, what
Okay.
happens is you leave your cortisol level, instead of it leveling out, it stays high and everything shifts. So you're getting all this energy late in the evening, 6, 7 o'clock, and you can't sleep. And you get, that's why anxiety and insomnia are usually linked together, as well as pain. And so when you're using the CES Ultra, what it's doing is it's putting your body back into that normal pattern, back into that normal pattern. And so, as even though you're trying to break the pattern, the CES Ultra is trying to reestablish the pattern. And once you start to reestablish the pattern, it's easier to get into the normal rhythm of waking up and going to sleep. Again, it's a great add-on tool that takes you through the first step. You can use nutritional supplements, mindfulness, and lifestyle to then add to it.
So in your first book, Misdiagnosed the Adrenal Fatigue Link, you talked about this chronic low-level stress, which you're talking about, which is really the slow death march that we're all under from this sympathetic overload, this being a simple tool to move us to that parasympathetic, all the way to the extreme adrenal peaks of the PTSD of our military in war and what you've done for them with your resiliency program. It's been super cool to see how you've weaved this in. So I know maybe you can touch about three things. Number one is the chronic low-level stress, a little more, because I think that's everybody. Two would be how you've used this clinically with some of your extreme vets and really got them their life back. The records amounts of suicide in that world is it's tear-jerking and heartbreaking. And I know that you've been, I've sat with you at tables with generals talking about the things that you're doing. It's been super cool. And then who doesn't need it?
Well, I think we should go to who doesn't need it. Just about everybody needs it. What's great about it is it's safe enough to use with children. It's safe enough to use for just about anybody, even if you're on different kinds of medications. The only people they say not to use it for are schizophrenics. I personally, in my office, do use it because, let's face it, how much harm can I possibly do? But they say not to. And then, so the low grade stress. I mean, I know, when I was growing up 50 years ago, when my father came home from work, he sat down, he had dinner, he read the paper, he watched TV, and he went to bed and he got a chance to relax. We no longer live in this world where there's time off. There's really almost never any time off between emails, between text messaging, between social media. When we were growing up, 1 o'clock in the morning, that blue line came on, the American flag played, and that was the end of the day until 6 a.m., right? Now you can watch 500 channels 24/7 all the time. And there's just a constant level of stress because people are always aware. And even if their phone isn't ringing, even if they're not getting an email, the desire or compulsion to look at your phone to see if somebody's trying to contact you is just out of control. And then our environment, the water we drink is much more polluted than ever before. I read an article recently that there's 16 times as much chlorine in the water today as 50 years ago. And that's not including all of the drugs that are now dumped into the water system, that they're showing up in animals, they're showing up in fish. The air is more polluted. The food quality is dramatically worse. And so all of these are constantly adding to the stress that we are all under. And then again, the news, the social media, you're just constantly bombarded by bad news or just overstimulation. And these things are designed to be addictive. It used to be that cigarettes were the most addictive thing available. And now the companies that develop the formulas for cigarettes now own our food. So our food is now super, super addictive. And then they've taken that same formula and they've added it to social media. So you're becoming more and more addicted to this. So you have this constant trigger of low grade stress. And what happens when you have low grade stress is eventually your body just gives out. You can't produce enough epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol. And so you then lose your ability to deal with even the smallest amounts of stress and anxiety. One of the things that we found when we were dealing with military personnel is that, and PTSD people, is that they were very, very quick to become angry. And people are like, I don't understand why my husband is so angry all the time. And people now, like you see, a lot more rage, road rage, people in the store just encountering, just becoming irate over the stupidest little things. And the reason for that is that all of this low grade stress that just does not end has worn down our cortisol levels. And the only way to get them to raise up quickly is to get angry. And that's why there are people with a lot of anger have low cortisol levels. And so this is going on and it's becoming a bigger and bigger problem for just about everybody. We see more teenage kids with a lot of extra anger out of nowhere, preteens with anger out of nowhere. And it's just because their norepinephrine, epinephrine, cortisol levels are dropping, and anger is the only way to rebuild them. So I would say just about everybody would probably benefit from anxiety with fatigue, anyone who claims that they feel burnout, anybody using anxiety medication, depression medication, and people who feel like they've lost sort of touch with their environment would benefit from a CES unit because it's going to help reset how they deal with that low grade stress that's going nowhere. You can't get rid of it. You can't, the world's not changing, so you need to adapt to it.
Dr. Steve, what great information. So anxiety, insomnia, that's hundreds of millions of people right there around the globe. And simple, comes in a beautiful kit like this. Maybe everybody can see that. I know you have one in your house. We have them all over our house now, and they're all over the office. Just clip on each ear, turn the dial on. It's that simple, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I happen to have one. I leave it in my car. I have a 30-minute commute to work. I clip it on, clip it on my ears, clip it, turn it on, and then I drive for my 30 minutes. I use it 30 minutes there, 30 minutes home. You don't really feel a lot when you're using it. There's a little tiny pinch in your ears, but you definitely, when you take it off, you definitely feel that calmer feeling. And that's one of the things I really love about the unit, is that when you use it the first time, you're going to notice, hey, I do feel a little calmer. It's not going to be like taking you from a 10 to a 1, but it'll take you from a 10 to a 7. And so people feel the results right away. And the reason they feel it right away is because it's producing alpha waves for you. And those alpha waves are help producing endorphins and serotonin. So you're like, hey, I feel a little better. So we use a lot in our office for patients with who are in the middle of a panic attack, or we do a lot of emotional work with people. We'll clip this on their ears while we're actually going through the emotional work, and it just is phenomenal. The better part of it is what happens weeks and months later. The more you use it, instead of the machine producing alpha waves for you, it trains your brain to produce them itself. So the brain will be retrained to produce alpha waves so that you are naturally producing serotonin, naturally producing endorphins. And then when you use the machine, you're just strengthening that wave. And so people's overall stress level just steadily drops. My biggest complaint for the unit, because there's always a downside, is that people feel so good of using it after, 2 or 3 months, is that they stop. And I tell people all the time, you don't have to use it every day if you don't want to, but you want to try and reinforce that positive wave pattern. So use it 2 or 3 times a week just to keep that good feeling going.
It's great. So, Doc, where do you see the future of CES Ultra and this technology going?
Oh, I think it's going to be huge. I think what's going to happen is we're seeing a big shift in the last 4 or 5 years where people have really realized that the American healthcare system based on medication doesn't work. I mean, there's no arguing that. There's no conversation that, oh, it's the greatest healthcare system. And it's not even close. Nobody has ever said that and really meant it. We have a great system in place if you're in crisis. If you're having a heart attack, awesome. You get into a car accident, awesome. But long-term care, where you want to have high quality of life, right? This is the latest research they showed is that not only are Americans not living as long as other nations, we are having a lower quality of life. So, we're not living as long as everyone else. And the last 12 years we are alive, our quality of life is horrible due to medical conditions. And so people are realizing that, hey, I can't be taking a medication when I'm 45 years old and plan on taking it for the next 35 years and be healthy. And so we're seeing more and more interest in what can I do to keep myself healthy? And again, lifestyle is great, mindfulness is great, exercise is good, nutritional supplements are important, but sometimes when it comes to your mental state, that's kind of one of the hardest things to correct. Anxiety is different than stress. Stress is an outside force, your wife, your kids, your job are all sort of eating at you. But anxiety in itself is your mind and body failing. It's coming from inside your feeling. There's no root cause specific that you know of. And so you need to be a little more aggressive. And a lot of times you need more help to deal with it because it's not something from the outside that you could sort of look at and evaluate. And so I think a lot more people, even though the units has been around for a long time and there's been hundreds of studies showing how effective it is, I think in the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to see a huge emergence of its use because people are finally turning around and realizing that I can't be on these drugs for another 40 years. The drugs aren't working anymore. I can't go talk to my therapist anymore. I'm sick of seeing her. And, my supplements have reached their peak. And so people are going to be looking for something that's going to build them up naturally, effectively. The other thing is I tell people all the time, when you get a unit for yourself, everybody in the family should use it. I mean, the kids have stress with school, the husband has stress at work, the wife has stress from everybody. I mean, I try and get, my wife, Judy, right? I try and get her to put it on before we go for a drive. So I don't have to hear about you're too close. But
I'm surprised you're not wearing it when you're on the way home.
I'm surprised she doesn't have 3 of them on her at all times. I think, as a matter of fact, where's it going in the future? I think it's going to be in every car for every married couple.
Oh, super great. Dr. Steve Zodkoy, Monmouth Advanced Medicine Resiliency Program, Instagram phenom. We appreciate all you're doing, helping uplift the health and wellness of the world in the unique manner that you do it, which we absolutely love and adore. So thanks for taking the time. CES Ultra, so excited for them. So excited that they're part of the BioStacking Summit and that we can help tell the world about this 40-year overnight success, CES Ultra. Thanks, Dr. Steve.
40-year overnight success. I love it. Thanks, buddy.
You got it.